I had a customer get a hold of me and say he had a malossi MHR bug eye. All he does, I think he said 50 miles an hour. Has every single part that looks right on it, except he's got the wrong pipe, he has the wrong pulley and the wrong spring couple, the wrong CVT thing. So customer's upset because he spent all this money on a bike and it's pretty slow. So that's why I want to talk about the importance of making sure you have the right components, because if you go out and you spend $1,000 to $1,200 or whatever on a build and you have 2 or 3 of the wrong items, you've just wasted your money. You may as well have spent $600 and bought components all lower level to get the same speed. So everybody's gonna be different. So I've just got 3 I just kind of put out here last minute so you get an idea. Adley RT50. This bike's just got a pipe and a jet kit on it. So here's a perfect example. This is a really good entry-level pipe. Works good on a big bore, a sport bore, or a stock cylinder. So let's say somebody's got this pipe and they've got a stock bore, they've got a Malossi cast or an NCY. So if you take this bike and you want to say, okay, I want to go to a Corsa or an MHR or a bore that makes 15, 16 horse, this pipe is going to kill you. So this pipe is not made for that. This pipe is made for sport, a certain RPM. They're made to operate in a certain RPM. So when your MHR Sport or Ported Corsa or MK2 Sport or Race wants to turn on it, depending on the bore, 9, 10, 11,000 RPM, this thing wants to shut off at probably I'd say probably wants to shut off around 9,500, somewhere around there. You've just wasted your money. You've bought this bore that's not gonna make power because this pipe is gonna kill your power on that. This pipe is great for certain things. It's great for stock, as I said, and sport, but it's not good for race. It's not good for high RPM. So that's why you have to pick and choose what you do. Another example, Pyarel is not gonna be good on a stock. A C21 is not gonna be good on a stock. A C16 is probably not gonna be good on stock. So you have to pick the right pipe for your application. So we're gonna help this customer get the right pipe and get the right parts, because otherwise he's wasted his money. This customer had a shop set him up with parts and a full build he's been working with. Not really here to mention the shop that set him up, but he's got a really slow bike and it's a ton of money into it, and it's only gonna take 2 or 3 different component changes to get him an extra 15 miles an hour. So I see this a lot with the Leo Vince pipes and the Fly pipes as well. They have everything done and they're just like, this bike will not rev, it won't go, and it's because that pipe's not gonna give you your performance, so you just wasted all your money on all those parts. So another example, Big Evo 94cc. That's I don't know, probably a 28 horsepower bike or something like that. It's nothing too crazy. It's quick and strong, but all those components are made to work together. It's all Polini parts. They're all made specifically for that 94. So that's going to be a really efficient motor in the aspect of they're all made to work. Every part's made to work together. So lock the door so we don't get bugged. So so everything on this is going to be made to work perfectly together. So if you're mixing and matching parts, you got to make sure you're doing the right parts, because again, if you're going to spend the money, you may as well have the parts all work properly. This pipe is made to work with this bore perfectly, so you're getting more bang for your buck because you're not wasting a bunch of money on a product that's not going to deliver you horsepower. So same thing, this is a 94cc. You wouldn't want to run this pipe on a 70 because you're going to spend money on a pipe that's not giving you a return on your investment on power, essentially. So let's just wheel myself over here in my executive Office Max chair, if you will. Maybe. Cracks in the floor. All right, next one. Honda Dio. Same thing. If you've got a Malossi cast kit and you're running a Polini pipe or a Pyarel or something like that, you're probably going to be better with a PG or a V8 or something like that if it's just a stock non-ported cylinder. So no reason to spend a bunch of money on a high-end pipe if you're running a eBay kit or something like that that's going to turn off before the pipe's going to turn on. Some of the Pyarels can spin to, I've had some spin to 13, 12 and a half. 12,000 RPM. A Taiwan bore is not gonna do that unless you port the hell out of it, which you can do. You can make anything run great, but it's gonna take a lot of work. So most people aren't porting their bores. Most people are cleaning up transfers and whatnot and polishing their exhaust and putting it on. So this is, any cylinder can be changed. This is just for the most common buyer who's gonna put it on and go. So let's see what else. So same thing, if you've got, so like this bike has a too fast prototype pipe, it has a malossi crank, a bunch of other stuff. It's got the Tillotson carburetor on it. It's got a, I tested this cylinder, it's a Naraku cylinder that I had Joe port the heck out of just for fun. It actually makes the same power as a Corsa, but it took a lot of work to get there. So this setup, if you were running a PG or a V8, it's gonna suck because this will rev to 12.2, 12.4, and a V8 is not gonna make power up there at all. A V8 is probably gonna stop making power at maybe 9,200 or I don't know, somewhere low 9,000. So mismatching parts again. So I like for the Honda Elite or the Dio, I like the Aero for bolt-on applications. The Yasuni is gonna rev higher, but I'm not making those right now. I probably will. The Too Fast is gonna rev higher, but the Aero is good for just bolt on and go. It's got a lot of mid, it's got a lot of bottom. It's not a real high end as far as high RPM, but for the Malossi cast, for the Contessa, it's awesome. For the NCY, it's awesome too. So if you're running a Corsa on a Honda Elite and you've got a stock carburetor, it'll work, but you're not getting all your horsepower because you have to have those parts matched. So that's pretty much it, I guess. Just make sure if you're having shops set you up with parts or somebody's explained to you, do your research and make sure they know what they're doing, because I hate seeing people spend money and not get a return on their investment. As you can see, we do a lot of setup here, a lot of different bikes and whatnot. So, trying to think, that's it. Make sure you have the right size carburetor as well. That's going to be a big deal. A lot of people go way too big. I've seen like 38 millimeter, dirt bike carbs on 8 horsepower engines. It's going to sound loud, but it's never going to make any power. So, well, I think that's it. So you guys got questions, let us know. We do custom quotes and whatnot for build packages. Our thing is, I'm not gonna sell you something if it's not gonna work. If I wanna know, when you're first building something, you wanna know, I wanna know your budget and your goals. If you have $300 to spend and you wanna do 140 miles an hour, it's not gonna happen. If you want a race build, you want high RPM, you want high horsepower, it's gonna be more expensive. But so I ask for a budget. First, know what you want to spend, be realistic, and know the type of person you are. If you're the type of person that buys a stock vehicle like me and you say you're going to keep it stock, and then in 3 weeks you've got the whole thing ripped apart in a million pieces and you're putting turbocharger, cam, and all this crap on, be honest with yourself and just do it right and do it once from the get-go, because otherwise you're going to spend a bunch of money on parts that aren't what you really want or that are kind of in the middle, and then you're going to rip it all off, and then you're all going to sell it and you're going to get new stuff and it's going to cost you more money. So do it once, do it right, do it the first time. Example, this big Evo, I have been running the crap out of on the track. I've drag raced with it a little bit. I've wrecked it probably 4 or 5 times. It starts first kick every time. I have not had to do anything to this bike for 2.5 years other than change the fuel. So if you get the right parts, you spend the money once, they last forever. This bike I ran at Super Sunday 3 years ago, and the only thing I've done to this in 3 years, in 3 years, is I had to do a top end because the crappy Chinese, Taiwan, whatever fan that people buy, the lightweight, ugly neon things that people buy, they explode. This one exploded. Several customers have had the same problem. This one exploded, killed my shrouds, and caused the board to overheat. So that's the only thing I've done to this bike in 3 years. So if you do the right parts, they last forever. I chose to do the fan, which ended up causing more problems. But I can say I've never had I've never spun a bearing. I've never had a crank go out. I've never ruined a bore. The only bore, actually take that back. The only bore I ever ruined was MHR Malossis that I was buying back when somebody was selling them on HondaSpree.net, and they came with, I believe it was counterfeit pistons. They were white and they were real kind of chalky, powdery finish to them, and they would just blow holes with your compression. 140 pounds of compression. The squish was huge. Good gas, and it never broke 240 degrees, and they just blow holes in the center of them. So aside from that, which I believe to be counterfeit pistons that were in those kits, I've yet to destroy a cylinder on any of these bikes because I run good stuff, and in the end it pays off. You only build your bike once and you don't have to redo it over and over and over. So in the end you get more return on your investment. So if you guys got any questions, let me know. We got a bunch of parts. We're gonna pack today. Well, I'm gonna pack because everybody else is off work today, except for me.